Hello, this is another episode of Reviews on the Couch where we discuss movies, how they made us feel, and lessons we can pick from them. My name is Elsie Godwin. If this is your first time of visiting this channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the button below, and also don't forget to click on the bell button so you get notified each time there's a new content. Thank you. On this episode, we're discussing a Niyi Akinmolayan film titled Prophetess. The movie follows the story of Ajoke, who makes a bogus prediction about a local football match. This prediction sets off a chain of events beyond her control. Prophetess features actors like Toyin Abraham, Lateef Adedimeji, Muyiwa Ademola, Tina Mba, Ronke Oshodioke, Deyemi Okanlawon, Uzor Arukwe, Stan Nze, Kehinde Bankole, Kunle Remi, Seyi Awolowo, and others. The movie is currently showing across cinemas in Nigeria and is expected to be on Netflix afterwards. To discuss how this movie made us feel, I've got a film business analyst, Anita Eboigbe, and the creative director of Sodas'N'Popcorn, Muyiwa Awojide.
Thank you guys so much for doing this with me. Muyiwa, when you saw Prophetess, how exactly did it make you feel? Like, take us through that journey from the beginning to the end, as brief as possible.
I loved the backstory. I loved the background. It's something unique. A prophetess prophecy that makes a local football team's prediction become the big thing all over the country, and so many things start to get into play because of this prophecy. That's very unique. I'm not sure I've seen a storyline similar to that in recent times. So in terms of the storyline itself, yes, that was something that I really enjoyed. In terms of the execution, acting and performances, yes, they did deliver. Everybody brought their A game, some more than others. In the end, the movie was fun, it was lighthearted, sometimes it was emotional, and at all times it had great performances. But it was extremely long. Prophetess could have cut off like 40 minutes and we will still be fine. I think Nollywood filmmakers should calm down with this new King of Boys craze that they're doing. One thing I would like to give kudos to them for was the final act. Now, there's something I call the final act conundrum or syndrome, whatever, in Nollywood. And basically, it's the thing whereby Nollywood movies don't know how to wrap up a movie, or they get exhausted and the movie wraps up in a horrible way. And it happens in a lot of movies. Or the movie is supposed to wrap up some way, but the way it wraps up is tacky and, all that. But I think Prophetess wraps up well with a very climatic moment. The whole football thing, the way they shot the football, the goal, when the goal was scored, the final goal, the chanting of Osaze, all those things. I think that's something that they did very well. As in, I was really, really impressed with that football scene. It was the first time I saw a sports drama that in Nigeria was touching. So that's something I felt, okay, I would do justice if I don't speak about that particular scene. Yeah, every other thing in terms of, for example, there was the lighting in certain scenes. I felt it wasn't necessary, like smoke effects were too much in some places. Like the lighting you could see that, some of this thing is fake. You could tell that, sound, you'd go on, what's it called? When you're obviously, you don't record a lot of the dialogue on location or things like that. But some of those things were obvious. They were really obvious in certain scenes. So those were some of the things that I felt that, I felt, the movie didn't exactly do rightly.
Linda, Kiriani, Pelusi I was spiritual.
You could see what the filmmakers were trying to do. They were basically trying to create so many cinematic moments. at the same time. They're trying to create moments that the audience would maybe feel some sort of emotion and be carried along. However, it felt as though when I watched it, it felt as though they were trying to do too many things at the same time. It just felt like they had this brilliant premise at the beginning and they got greedy. They had this fine premise and they told themselves that, you know what, why don't we just put everything inside it so that more people can feel some sort of connection to it? And in the process, they lost a few of the connections that they would have made, but I appreciate the effort at the end.
I like that you appreciate the effort, but let's look at the performance, the casting. For me, my opinion on performances can be very biased because I loved the guy who played the role of the owner of the bet company. I think he killed the role. He made me laugh all through. The connection he had
Yeah,
with
I agree.
his manager, the foreign
That's that.
manager,
Stan.
they were just
That's
amazing.
Stan, I mean,
Yeah,
Stan
Stan
Nze.
Inze. The connection he had with Stan Inze is just sweet, and I think that was my best. Or the two of them were my best characters in the movie. Not taking away Toyin Abraham's acting and accolades now. But what do you think about the casting and their performances, Muyiwa?
My favorite character in the movie was Kehinde Bankole. She killed it. Like she brought she brought a
That's true.
shotgun.
That's true.
She brought a shotgun. She brought an AK-47. She brought a bazooka. She brought an RPG. And she shot everything at the same time. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what? Anyways, I'm exaggerating, but why exactly did I really enjoy Kehinde's performance? Because I feel Kehinde is underrated, and a lot of people overlook her, and she probably doesn't get the kind of roles that
I
deserve
agree.
it. But this movie kind of said, you know what, Kehinde, go into the spotlight and do your thing. And for example, I'll give an example. We've all seen the movie, so I can talk about it. Now, look at that scene where Fogo Bombastic picks her son and wants to stab him. I was like, okay, now that's acting. Omo mini, omo mini. I don't know if you guys understand Yoruba.
Yeah.
Where she was saying the old omo mini, and all that. As in, the emotions were really, really dope. And even when she wasn't trying to be funny, there were times where she was funny. Her accent and things like that, children, the way she was saying all those things, it was really, and it's not even about accent alone. Performances also, that part where she went into Toyin Abraham's church, you could tell that she was exhausted. She was fagged out. She had lost her voice. She had lost her energy. She was breathing heavily, but she just kept going and she just still stayed in character. So Kehinde was my favorite character, followed by Uzor. Of course, Uzor was my second favorite character. It was a clown. That guy is a fool. Like he probably needs his own movie on his own. They can find something to do with him if they want to do a popcorn flick.
Did you expand that character of the Igbo illiterate or slash literate money man and create something from
exactly. That scene where, I mean, it's very obvious I had a lot of fun watching this movie. So, which is why, unlike Anita, I'm overlooking a lot of the technicalities. Yeah, in terms of technicalities, like I said, we can look at some other things later on when we're talking about directing, blah blah blah. But in terms of what the movie did for me, I went in trying to have a good time, and the performances, helped really do that. And Uzor, of course, Uzor was hilarious. That part always where he was wearing his what's it called? His bathrobe on the field. That was really funny. Emeka, I can't remember his last name. Thank God, the Thank God kid.
He did
he
so
really
well.
did, non-vocal performance, but he really did very well. Of course, he was good in Kasala. I remember him from Kasala. He was all right in Kasala, but non-vocal performance, but he did He did so well. Then Toyin, of course. Toyin, I think we don't need to overflow here. Toyin is Toyin. We know Toyin acts well, even though our choices of movies is what is the problem a lot of times. But in terms of acting, Toyin was really something interesting also. But I mean, those were my favorite characters. Those three: Kehinde, Uzor, and Emeka. Those three people. Fogo bombastic. I won't feel Fogo could even have a movie of his own. Like he has potential. Yeah. I pitched something. I suggested something to Niyi, the director. I said, how about a movie where Fogo he wasn't called a police officer from from Lagos, has to go investigate a case in Ibadan. And unfortunately, he has to team up with a criminal who knows the underworld in Ibadan, and Fogo is that person he has to team up with, and things like that. So a body cop kind of thing.
Why not Fogo being an Agbero known in Lagos State that is collaborating with the Nigerian police to catch criminals? I think that will work better for Fogo bombastic.
Anyone actually, as long as it's an Agbero. They should not take that away from him. Although I'm worried Deyemi is starting to be typecasted. Is it typecast or typecasted? Whatever. I have a feeling I hope he doesn't put himself in that, because he did it in Mogeto, he did it here also. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking at it now like, Deyemi, let's give him that Agbero fine boy rule. I pray it doesn't. Same thing with Lateef Adedimeji. He's already, that accent, that Igbo Yoruba accent thing. He's pretty much doing it in every movie now. Maybe they're fine with it, but I feel it could limit some things their characters or their performances could do in the future with other roles. So, yeah, I think that's what I feel about the performances in the film.
When I saw the movie, the first thing that came to my head was, when are we giving Kehinde Bankole her flowers? Like, at what point are we ever going to acknowledge that this woman, has been doing this work for a long time and she hardly ever misses? So that was like the first thing that came to my mind. She carried that whole film on her back. I mean, this is not to take anything away from Toyin, but Kehinde had the most compelling scenes, that made you want to believe every other thing.
The storyline and the messages that I think he was trying to pass. Yeah, when it comes to betting companies and a lot of people embracing the culture of betting, and in the past 1 year or two, I think we've seen the emergence of more betting companies than we've ever had in Nigeria, or even in Africa, if I'm not exaggerating. What do you think that is doing, and do you think this movie would do anything in the positive light in regards to that area of business and menace?
So here's the thing. I feel like the film mirrored society. In fact, when I was watching, number one thing about the lessons was that if there's anything, this whole thing, mirrors society. It basically puts us in a position where we have to see what is already happening. I don't think it's going to increase the amount of people who are going to bet. I think that what it just does is to show you what is already on ground, and that's what we can take from it. The whole process is like a social commentary on what really happens. You find people, staking everything on, a bet slip. And it's not like the filmmakers just want to take the story from anywhere else. It's a mirror of what usually happens in society. I mean, we watch movies where people steal, and we watch movies where we watch Fast and Furious, and nobody's taking their cars and going to run off the streets because they watch Fast and Furious. So I think that it's just what it is.
Aside from movie-related stuff, I'm a marketing consultant, and I think I've worked with 4 betting companies in different capacities in the last 2-3 years. One thing I can tell you is the fact that people, because of the state of the Nigerian economy, from the mid-2010s, people started relying a lot on betting and Ponzi schemes and all those things, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's on the rise, and people are entering the market, like you rightly said, Elsie. People are entering the market every day on a very massive scale. So I think the artist has just done the stuff. Did we enjoy it? Did we not? Let's just leave it as it is. I'm not sure it's going to have any effect. I doubt that.
Okay. Okay. So finally, touching on they also tried to play, like you said, I think it was Anita who said they had a good premise, but they wanted to touch on everything. They became greedy. So I think the movie touched on
Yes,
a lot
I
of things
agree.
at the same time. And the part about the influencer and what social media can do when you just pick up something and then blast it online and the effect it can have on people. I felt that was another area that they wanted to touch on to kind of like tell a
Yeah,
story there, you know. So what do you
Mm.
think about
yeah.
that area, Muyiwa? Okay, Anita, please go ahead.
So I'm sorry, Muyiwa. I don't know. Before we go there, I don't know if I'm the only person who felt like the influencer and his family did not have much motivation to go to the prophet. And to think that that was the beginning of the movie, I mean, that was the first part, and the next thing we just went to the prophet. These are things that happen every day, and you want to really root for the reason why the character went there, and that was also why when he went there, it was just hard to piece together some things. But coming to your question, um, people should be able to take responsibility. Again, like Adibi said, she's not a role model to your kids, but at the same but at the same time, people should be able to say that. People should be able to say that I have a platform, I have a large following. When I put things out there, I'm responsible for the things I put out there. You might not be responsible for how they perceive it, but you have a general idea of the general perception that your audience that are specific to you would perceive things. That is one. Secondly, with the way it was really shaped, the guy was making a funny, harmless in quote video that most people would make, and it was clear that at the beginning, also you could see how fickle human beings were. At the time that the guy was recording this video, everybody was enjoying watching it. They were asking him to ask questions. They were liking, they were following. Everybody saw it was harmless. There was no malice involved. But when the casala burst, people started saying you should take responsibility. So it's a two-way street. Influencers should take responsibility by being careful, but also people would be people, and people have the herd mentality
True.
that you cannot exactly do this. So that I think we have to put the two on the scale when we are asking people to be responsible with their content. Of all the cinematic moments that Niyi and Co designed for the film, I think the football scene was, like he said earlier, was the best one. And I think it worked because you could follow the progression. That was the only storyline or plot line that you could actually follow. So
The
you could
arc.
follow the progression, and at the end, you could root for somebody. It was very realistic with the way people were chanting, and although I felt like a little part of it was over dramatized, but it's a comedy, so we'll let it slide. Personally, I have an issue with the guy, the Osaze's father, and this is my Edo showing. And that's because the guy spoke very terrible Edo and then mixed with Yoruba and something. And I'm like, come on, we've gotten this far. You could not just find a way for this guy not to speak Edo at all. We got it. His name is Osaze. But I think we have a thing where Nollywood filmmakers feel like we witch hunt them. And I think that it's important for us to highlight places like this where we feel they've actually done a good job. So that's why we're highlighting it again. But yeah.
Rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 and why.
Okay. I think I'll rate it 6. Six. I would have said 7, 8, but 6 because you could see a lot of ambition. And you could see that he wanted to bring a lot of ambition to life, and he brought some of it. The remaining 4 points goes to the tiny technical things that became huge technical things at the end of the day, and just general issues that the film had, and the price for ambition. So 6/10.
Okay, so I would give the movie 7.5. And the reason for that is number one, it was very enjoyable. Number two, the performances were incredible. Number three, it set out to enjoyable. I'm building up on the enjoyable right now. So let me say number one,
Yeah.
enjoyable in the sense that it has a goal, it accomplishes that goal, and even though there were a lot of distractions on the journey, just like Anita already said, but it gets to its destination. and it arrives very safely. Then, of course, number two, performances, incredible performances. I really enjoyed the performances. Number three, it was very fun. I've watched it twice, and I remember cracking up on two different occasions. And then I'll join this. Okay, number four is a bit of the subtext here and there, the subtle messages that were laced, in the story and things like that. So yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank you so
I had
much.
fun.
Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking the subscribe button below and also hitting the bell button so you get notified each time there is a new content. My name is Elsie Godwin. Until another upload on this YouTube channel, please do enjoy yourselves and see more movies. Bye.